In this video, we're talking about competition. There are plenty of people who can tell you all about competition. How if one person is winning, then you must be losing. And how you need to pull people down and climb over them in order to make a name for yourself. And about how you have to claw your way to the top, because if you're not there, someone else is, and they're stealing your glory. I have never subscribed to this view of the world and the extreme interpretation of scarcity that fuels it. So let's talk about a different kind of competition. Now, if you had asked me a year ago what I thought about competition, I would have said that there's only one kind of competition that you need to worry about: yourself. And that is constantly striving to push your limits and better your best. When we can keep increasing our personal records, improving our skills, and tracking all this progress that we're making, that's what matters most, right? Well, I've come to realize that even this notion is misguided. By employing this kind of thinking, we're actually putting massive amounts of undue pressure on ourselves to constantly better our best. And honestly, this can end up being wildly counterproductive. If we're talking about any kind of creative work, for example, this amount of pressure to create something that's better than our current best work can actually end up stripping away that inspiration that we would need to be able to do that. It also takes a lot of fun and levity out of whatever it is that you're doing. And sure, a lot of us probably don't use the term levity with whatever it is that we do in our professional lives, but I'd argue that maybe we should. If we look at the phenomenon called beginner's luck, we find that people who are new at something actually tend to do better at something than those who have been doing it for a long time. Now, why is that? This luck isn't really luck at all. It's a relaxed mind that's open to new opportunities, ready to learn, and without all these insane expectations or pressures. In this context, a beginner can approach something much more naturally and intuitively, while a more experienced person may be overthinking things and, sorry to say, trying too hard. Now, this doesn't mean that we can never allow ourselves to get good at anything. It just means that we can learn something from this so-called luck and allow ourselves to be more of a beginner at things. And finally, we need to come to terms with this realization that we are not going to be able to always continuously beat our own records forever. Nature ensures that we find humility in the end, ideally by granting us the gentle decline of aging. Of course, we can continue with our pursuits as long as we want to, but we have to realize that we're not always going to be able to keep up with our younger selves. But just because we can't keep bettering our best doesn't mean that we should give up entirely on what we're doing or beat ourselves up about it. So my new outlook is that the only competition that you need to worry about is the one against apathy. If you're engaged in what you're doing, you will naturally be learning and growing throughout the process, even if you're not creating that next better thing. You're also going to feel more fulfilled along the way. And as your abilities begin to dwindle with age, illness, environmental factors, whatever it is, you can have the grace and compassion for yourself in knowing that even if you're not constantly getting better at something, at least you're still in the game. Delight in the process and give yourself the space, the permission, and the creative freedom to do your work. As long as you're enjoying it, who cares if you're not constantly one-upping yourself?